Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring Kirb in our top right corner playing our pink Zerg, and in the bottom left we have ThingMaker, our blue Protoss. This is Game 2 between their matchup on the GameFAQS tourney currently going on, hosted by Bone Carlos. Game 1 went to Kirb in a surprise. Kind of a surprise. I don't know, I didn't see it coming. I thought he was in a lot of trouble when ThingMaker moved out with a very impressive army, but instead Kirb deciding to not engage the army directly, turned it around and took out the infrastructure for ThingMaker. So even though ThingMaker did quite a lot of damage with his force, he ended up not being able to follow through and GG'd out quite successfully. So it was a really good game, and I'm hoping this is going to be a good game. We are on Cloud Kingdom? Cloud Kingdom? We are on Cloud Kingdom. And both players, I believe, are in Masters. I think ThingMaker might not be in Masters, but I'm not sure. I know Kirb is. I know Kirb's in Masters, but ThingMaker, it remains to be seen. I think it's possible that he is not. Pylon being placed down on the low tier. Go for that Forge Fast expand just like last time for ThingMaker. Kirb went for a Fast Expo himself, and we're going to see if he or ThingMaker decide to change up anything, what with all the very successful harassment in the last matchup. ThingMaker managed to put a pylon down at both the natural and the third position, and Kirb got to throw down a hatchery and cancel that into an Evo chamber, which is phenomenal. It's a really good play. Pool being built for Kirb. It looks like the reason he built a pool last time was because the pylon had gone up. So I'm not 100% sure if that's just a reaction to seeing the probe or if that's a natural timing that would have happened one way or another. Nice play out of ThingMaker to get a probe positioned in between the drone and the probe, chasing that drone, and have it on hold position. That way he can block that hatchery being built from the drone from Kirb. Pylon is being built down at the third, nothing down at the natural, nothing up at the third, but the probe is headed that direction, chased by the drone. Oh, it looks like he was chased just a little bit too far, and that hatchery gets built just behind it. That probe's probably smarting. It looks like the wall off is going to get underway. That photon cannon has gone down, but that has delayed ThingMaker's Nexus. It's actually taking him quite a long time to get that up. Still, it's going to be before that 6-minute mark, which is what we saw last time. Though the third is being built for Kirb, it looked like a pylon was being placed just to the left of it so he could do a photon cannon harass, but what with it being scouted, I think it was more just a bluff to see what was happening. Oh yeah, and especially with the Zerglings already on the field, that photon cannon harassment was not going to succeed in taking down that expansion, just costing ThingMaker more money, rushing in with his probe as a suicide just to scout the gas. The no gas has gone down, no delayed or hidden tech out of Kirb, and the four Zerglings decide to make their way off to the ramp to see what type of shenanigans they can get into. With the wall off not complete, it's possible that they might do a run by, maybe make it all the way up into the main base to scout the gas, but with overlords already on the field and in position, I don't think that's 100% necessary for Kirb. Let's see what he's going to do. Taking a backwards path to scout the third first before he pokes at the front door. Very good idea there. Nexus is being built. Natural has been grabbed by Kirb, so we are exactly where we were last time, just a little bit in the future. Last time it was around the 6-minute mark whenever we saw things stabilize like this, but this time it's at the 5-minute mark, which is fine, which is great. 2 gas being grabbed by ThingMaker, so he's beginning to work on that tech. In fact, that gas has been grabbed before the Cybernetics core, so ThingMaker's tech is going to be flowing a little bit smoother this time. Daybreak has a very difficult wall off. Cloud Kingdom, though, very narrow right here. Very easy to wall off with just these 2 large buildings and then maybe a pylon and a zealot. It looks like he's using the photon cannon, though, and actually has the choke back a little bit farther. Small Zergling run by might be able to make it through, but anything more devastating like a buttload of roaches will still have to take a lot of damage to make it through that gap. The Natural's hatchery is going to finish. The third has already been fully saturated. Still no gas, but this is pretty much identical to the build that Kirb went last time. I expect we're going to see that gas in just a couple of seconds. There it goes. Look at that. 2 gas. Probably going to grab some down at the Natural in short order. But we'll keep an eye on the tech coming out of Kirb, as that's a little bit more important than the gas. Yeah, you can expect 2 gas, 4 gas, maybe even 6 gas at in a couple of minutes. But the tech buildings are really what differentiates the different Zerg tech structures, tech build orders, whatnot. Exact same thing as last time with ThingMaker. He's got that robotics facility being built after the one gateway, getting a sentry out just to provide some of those force fields, get a bunch of energy, grabbing a third gas, again, just the third gas, which means he's probably going to get up a bunch of gateways in a couple of seconds, and maybe another robo facility. Or he could tech higher. Mortals didn't really work out for him last time because there was just a bunch of Zerglings and Banelings on the field. So he could be trying for Colossi to do a bit more AoE damage. Or he could be taking into a different structure and go for the High Templars with their AoE. Both of them are very successful. One a little bit more durable than the other. But Archons are pretty handy in a pinch also. 4 gas being grabbed total for Kirb. Still no gas at the third, but that's definitely not unheard of. Looks like the gas is going to be spent in these double Evo chambers. Probably going to get the 1-1 like he did last time, getting the lair and the metabolic boost out. Very fast speedlings. Then they'll be able to close very quickly. That sentry being pretty ballsy. If it gets caught out in the open, if there were more Zerglings waiting in the wing, it'd be a significant loss because the sentry in and of itself is pretty much useless in a fight, but it's the force fields that it can generate which will keep things alive for a lot longer. And here we go. Those are gateways. This is a robotics bay. Robotics bay is going to be used to make a bunch of Colossi, get them out, get out that AoE, eat up all those Zerglings. We see 12 on the way. There's the 1-1. Pathogen glands, just like last time. No, that's ventral sacs. And the infestor pit's not even on the field yet, is it? No, it is not. Baneling nest being built, though. Ventral stacks, awesome play. We saw him, Kirb, use this to great effect last time. Get a bunch of Banelings in an Overlord. Drop said Overlord over some a cluster of units, specifically sentries, and watch them die very quickly. Sentries can be pretty much immortal whenever they're protected by immortals and zealots and force fields, but you can circumvent that by dropping Banelings from the Overlords on that cluster and kind of working the Protoss tactic against them. A lot of Zerglings out on the field. Map controls heavily in Kirb's favor. I expect we're going to see him grab a 4th any minute now, because it was about the 12-minute mark that he grabbed the 4th last time, and what with the tech moving along kind of quickly this time, I think Kirb's build is going to be a little bit accelerated. 1-1 will finish probably before this aggression actually hits, just having those Zerglings in position to deny the 3rd. Only 1 Colossi being built right now. We don't see a secondary robotics facility. I don't think he could afford another robotics facility if he wants to. That gas is awfully low. A lot of minerals saved up, though. Several Zerglings rushing in, catching one of the sentries by surprise. Oh, and a couple Zerglings managed to sneak through and kill the other sentry. That is a big loss. Don't underestimate how big of a loss that was. It was a great play by Kirb to get those guys in. ThingMaker was just a half-second too late throwing down that force field, and it cost him 2 sentries, which will really play a big deal in the coming fight. All that gas is being spent by ThingMaker into other things. He does not want to have to spend 200 more gas into a bunch of sentries, but he cannot move out without those sentries, so that's a big deal. It's a big deal, guys. But this Colossi is going to punish any other aggression from Kirb, because these Zerglings are not going to last very long against them, especially with a second one popping out of the robotics facility any second now. But the aggression out of Kirb has allowed him to get a 4th up, and he is really containing ThingMaker. He knows exactly what his game is. He knows exactly the build that he needs to use, and he's not caught off guard by any sort of pylon blocks from ThingMaker. So his tech is rolling at the exact timing that he's used to. Charge lots are going to be finishing for ThingMaker. He's got a lot of minerals saved up, so he can afford to shoot in a bunch of zealots, but he's trying to spin down all those minerals, getting a couple more gateways so he can get a couple more zealots off per round, which is a good play. Warp Prism being used as a mobile pylon, probably. You can load up a bunch of zealots into the Warp Prism and drop them off. There's quite a lot of mineral fields that are going to be very vulnerable, but with the Spire coming out, that Warp Prism is going to have to choose if it wants to survive for very long or if it wants to work as harassment, because you can't have both. Not with mutas on the field or even corruptors. Corruptors are going to be a good choice against these Colossi, but I don't think they're going to be out in time. Still a lot of time left for that Colossi to get built, and by Colossi I mean Spires, Corruptors to get built. That Spire has to finish. The Corruptors have to get out before they can start doing damage to these Colossi, and they're moving out. +1 already done, +2 on the way. Much intimidating army moving out from ThingMaker. Those Zealots are going to absolutely chew through these Zerglings, but remember last time we had quite a lot of Banelings and quite a lot of Overlords, and if they can get in, those sentries that are on the field do not have a lot of energy. They're all very fresh, and each of them will only be able to throw down one force field for battle, and if these Zerglings can manage to get a full surround on ThingMaker, then his entire army is going to be decimated in just a couple of seconds. He needs to control this. Some good force fields down on the right side, very cost effective. However, those, oh, there goes the Bane Rain, and the Bane Rain absolutely crushes ThingMaker's army. Just melts away. All of a sudden, we've got 56 Zerglings on the field, and ThingMaker just does not have an army left to answer to it. GG's out of the game after seeing everything. Absolutely decimated. Really well played by Kirb, showing you how powerful that Baneling drop can be. Usually you only see it whenever there's a full-on Protoss death ball, but ThingMaker gave Kirb plenty of time, allowed him to get that third base up. Both players had quite a lot of money left over. I think remacroing was possible, but ThingMaker was just going to get completely outpaced once this fourth was up and running, which it was going to get there soon enough. Yeah, 77 probes. Hey, that's it for me, guys, and that's it for ThingMaker. Poor guys dropped down to the loser bracket. Kirb is moving on to the third round of the winners bracket, so that is neat. I think you guys are neat. If you guys have a game that you think is neat, you could PM me here or on Reddit. I'd love to cast it. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.